And then, of course, OG, like I said, they beat Navi, but they lost to Newbie. So
that's a tough road.
Yeah, for both of the teams.
Yeah.
Newbie, obviously, we just saw, but they didn't do that well. But they did really well against OG. But Virtus Pro going down to Optic, I think, is the big talking point that everybody's really been looking at. So
yeah, that's the big one that stands out to me for sure.
Yeah,
that's an impressive victory.
Yeah, I mean, and it was in a crazy fashion as well. And we'll see if Optic can do it again. I think against OG. OG probably the favorable team in this matchup. They are one of the biggest winning organizations in all of Dota 2, of course, across the majors, the old major system and the new major system back in the Boston major, of course, the NL major.
We're not talking about the past.
No.
We're talking about the present.
The present, exactly.
That's right.
Right. New blood, Resolution. He's been part of the team for a while now. Optic, they brought in 33, and they swapped some roles up. Zai now playing more of the 4 position, whereas 3-3 playing the off lane. That's a big, I think, thing for Optic to kind of change before going into a major.
Yeah, it just makes sense. 33, he's got 2 3s in his name. He's born for the offlane position. Simple as that.
Yeah, it's just simple math, I guess.
It is math. They're numbers, Mon.
There are numbers.
Anytime you see numbers, it's called math.
It's math, okay. So we will get into the draft sooner rather than later. We're just getting ready to go. The teams are getting set up, and we will get underway. But we will talk about the brains of the operation for both teams. It is going to be PPD as well as Fly. One has, both of them have brains, but only one has the bronze, Brax.
That's not true. They both got some brawn, Mon.
Well, some more than other. As you have Fly, who's massive in terms of what he can accomplish as the leader of this team. He has done a lot for OG in the past, but PPD, it's hard to deny what he can do as your support player, as your captain, as well as the calls and drafting.
You can never count PPD out, right?
Yeah.
This man's got all the experience. He came from I would say nobody believed in him when he first came out onto the scene.
That's fair.
That's accurate?
Yeah.
He came from Heroes of New Earth.
Yes.
Didn't know a whole lot of people, and he proved everyone wrong.
Yeah, I mean, even his first team in the NA region, Stay Green, they did rather well for themselves, and I think a lot of people were surprised by that. That was the old, I think Zai, I think PPD was on that team as well.
Yep.
And they did pretty good. I mean, there was a lot of really strong players on that old team, but now Optic being led by PPD, a new incarnation, and we will get into the draft. It is OG versus Optic Gaming, our last game of the day. And trying to get to 2-1 for one of these teams. We will see the Chen ban, which has been targeted a lot more after the first few days of action, where Chen was picked and kind of destroyed in the beginning of the Swiss format.
Yep, both these teams have the, I would say, the foundation of a good team, right? You have that strong leader, that strong voice with all the ideas, and person who's not afraid to crack the whip. You don't want to disobey Fly. You don't know what's going to happen to you after the game. PPD, same thing.
Yeah, that's
important.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. But the Omni Knight ban, which I'm surprised by considering where it was picked last game and how it did.
Well, that doesn't happen every game.
Right.
That's only within the specific lane matchup. What happens if Omni Knight goes to a different lane? They lane against it. All of a sudden, you have a safe lane Viper up against 3 heroes that
you don't
slaughter him.
You don't pick it first overall, which is another thing also, potentially. It might be a different outcome in that regard then.
Yeah.
But it's, I think, a pretty strong ban for Optic. OG could definitely pick it up. They will ban the Broodmother for OG. We've seen one Brood so far, at least today. Vegas Squadron picked it up. They almost won that game, but Mineski were able to turn it around. A good effort, though, from that Vegas Squadron team.
Yeah, it was close. All right, what do we have? Elder Titan. Okay.
Giving that to OG, that feels like a comfort pick for them for sure.
When you win, I thought it was because you were sad about seeing Elder Titan, but no, Elder Titan is very strong.
He's very strong. It's just, it's interesting that they let it through to OG, who are pretty good at this hero. But he's a fun hero to watch for sure, and OG will be able to set some stuff up with this hero. And I'm sure, I don't know what they're going to play in the 5 position to pair up with him, though.
Well, talking about stack Dota, Elder Titan, one of the best support heroes at setting that up.
Yes.
You can stack one camp with your body, then another with the Astral Spirit. And then you can also have your Spirit run through all the jungle camps while you gank a lane to gank it with ridiculous damage. Yeah.
We've seen that a lot, but the stacks more so than anything else. And because of this hero, the Gyrocopter, very good at taking stacks with the Flat Cannon. They also pick up the Sand King, and OG, they love this hero. They love the Morphling, and for good reason. Resolution, No Tail, they've both played it a lot in pubs. Resolution has been playing it more. They played it earlier in the tournament, I believe, in their first matchup, which was, of course, against Navi, and it did absolutely fantastically.
I love watching this hero. He does nothing for the first 20 minutes of the game, but that's kind of like the warm-up, right? You get a little give and take, You let him warm up, get to that point of the game where he can actually do things, then he transforms into random heroes, starts to become, turns into a Sand King stuns, gets Flat Cannon, runs around. It's fun to see.
I think the reason why this hero is so loved by players like Resolution and RTZ is that it's got such a high skill cap. And what you can do, you can jump into Earthshaker, use Fisher, jump back out. We've seen a lot of jumping into Razor and getting the static link and then jumping out, or jumping into a Tiny, getting a toss back, and then jumping back out with a tree grab as well.
Why do you think so many players like Rubik?
Same reason.
Yeah, because he's cool.
Yeah.
Morphling, he's also pretty cool.
Yeah. Anything that can steal other heroes' abilities is kind of, it's up there in the coolness factor, that's for sure.
Yeah, it adds that skill cap, and the potential is limitless.
So,
well, not really, but potential it's high.
It's high. It is very high.
Limitless, that's an overstatement.
I know what you're saying, though. And for OG, in their hands, it could be even higher in terms of what they can accomplish with it.
Wow.
And Optic will have to deal with this Morphling. They do have the Gyrocopter, they do have the Sand King, but OG already in a very comfortable position with their first 2 picks. But now we get the bans. We can get the Puck ban. The Death Prophet was the 3rd ban for Optic. We have the AA ban as well for OG, which is starting to see more play.
Is this a Brewmaster ban?
Yeah, I mean, that was interesting that they got it. I think in both games they played so far, they had the S4 Brew, and then in one game they had the Resolution Morphling. And those are heroes you think, what? You give that away to S4, that guy is a monster on that hero. Yeah. They lost with it against Newbie, but they did obviously pretty well against Navi in that regard.
Yep.
But they haven't banned it out yet.
Okay. So now, it's really sad that when you look at the 5-position hero pool, and once Witch Doctor's banned, you sit there and go, shit.
What do we pick?
What do I play now?
Disruptor, potentially?
I guess, but he's not the most stable hero, right? If you don't have a lane, you have no place to get those levels to actually be useful in the game. And then you go down the checklist, you hit heroes like Crystal Maiden, you're thinking, dear God, get me off that. I'll only play this if you guys desperately want mana.
Or if they pick a Chen on the other team.
Yes.
Another one would be Bane, which is something that both of these teams can play. PBD, I think, plays it more so than anybody for Optic, so.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how you'd feel about a Bane in this game, but it might be good against Morphling. Locking him down.
Lockdown, yeah.
Before he gets the Lincoln Sphere, it might be necessary. Conversely, it could be good for OG as well against the Gyrocopter. Have a Nightmare. Enfeeble's also a nice way to deal with the damage of the Gyrocopter.
Gyro doesn't build a whole lot of pure damage items until that Rapier, which is, of course, the ultra late game, so Enfeeble does a lot.
Yeah.
When you're flat cannoning for 10 damage, nobody's scared of you.
It certainly would work out. But yeah, it is the Witch Doctor ban, like you talked about. It is the Bat Rider ban. If OG want S4's Brewmaster, they could get him. If Optic want Bane, they could grab him. There's still plenty of heroes available. Tiny's also still available, which was in the last game for Mugi for Newbie. It's another really commonly picked hero nowadays.
I'd be surprised if Optic don't pick up Tiny here.
There it is.
All right, well, you are the predictor, man. Look at that, Bane.
It just feels like a comfort hero for Optic, I think. And it's just good against the Morphling, too.
Yeah, it is good against the Morphling throughout the game. And also, I like it this game for the lane. Because when you look at OG, Morphling, this man needs a lot of help.
Yeah.
Elder Titan, if he wants to run you down with 1,000,000 damage, you can sleep him.
Yeah. And Bane can get up there, he can brain sap, he can do a lot of damage to the Morphling in the early stages of the game.
Being able to apply pressure to some of these lanes, it just opens up the gameplay, or the game plan, right? You can move so many different places. Instead of only being able to play off this one lane, now you have 2 lanes to make moves off of. And now comes the Rubik.
This feels like Comfort Hero Central for OG. All they're missing is a Brewmaster right now.
Oh, also, I'm talking about 5 heroes, right? You go down the checklist. Rubik, I didn't really talk about him, but looks good.
It's kind of interesting because he plays more like a greedy 4 or a greedy 5 than...
I feel like he's better as the 4 position rather than as the 5, but, still the same hero.
Could you give him farm priority over the Elder Titan, let the Elder Titan just kind of do his own thing and just...
It's weird. The game has kind of evolved to where you have like 2 4.5s.
Oh.
Where they both... Oh, what's that hero do?
I'm not sure myself, Brax, but in all seriousness, Dark Willow is a very strong hero right now. And in the 5 position and the 3 position, which it actually is going to be, I think, in the 3 position in this game.
It looks like it's definitely going to be in the 3 position in this game.
Which is very exciting. And what do you think in terms of item builds? Do you think it's the Blink Dagger? I think we talked about Ewel's too.
Purely utility items and surviving items, especially from the offlane role. You know, it's not going to be about dealing a whole bunch of damage. It doesn't actually matter. It's going to be more about the control,
the control
and
and
lane
the lockdown.
pressure.
So then you max the Bramble Maze and Curse Crown then instead of maybe get 1 point in Shadow Realm for.
No, I'm pretty sure you still max the Shadow Realm just
Okay.
so you have the damage and the lane pressure. But then, like, item-wise, it's going to be like the Yules, the Blink Dagger, all that good stuff.
It's just so interesting because we haven't seen this hero that much, so we don't know, okay,
No.
even if it goes in the off lane, what does it pick up in items, what does it pick up in abilities? But we're going to find out very soon for
Yeah.
Optic.
How does this hero play outside of pubs? I have no idea.
Is it going to be good against something like the Morphling? The Terrorize might be very strong. You just fear the Morphling into a Bramble Maze or something like that. You lock him down before he's able to get off his attribute shift potentially.
Yeah. I mean, look at the lane, right? It's going to be, or it could potentially be like Dark Willow with Sand King or with Bane off lane up against a Morphling lane. Morphling lanes are super bad at level 1 because he wants that attribute shift to morph down so he can last hit well, which means without the wave, even with the wave, it's still not very strong.
Not to mention he's with a Rubik.
Exactly.
Who, I mean, you get, what, Lift at level 1, maybe 1 point in Fable.
Lift is nice with 3 heroes because it gives them all more right clicks in, but there's no actual like instant damage, right?
Yeah.
There's no nuke coming out.
I mean, with Rubik, Elder Titan, Morphling, they need experience. They need levels to be exceptional in terms of what they can provide in the beginning of the game.
Elder Titan actually has the stop at level 2, then it's a bit scary.
Exactly. So this Dark Willow might have a good time because of this with Bane.
Yeah, and that's probably why they picked it. They thought, oh, all right, I can do a lot in the lane here. Let's pick it.
The Viper will be banned out for Optic. Fair enough, considering what they just saw with the EG newbie game. The next ban will go for OG. It is a tiny for OG, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this in the off lane. Of course, we played it last game in the safe lane role for newbie, but
yeah,
you like this hero the most, I think, when it's in the off lane, you were telling me.
I'm going to just look at this hero's playstyle throughout the game. It feels like it suits the off lane role better.
An initiator.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
Yeah, Blink Shadow Blade style, where you start off these team fights by blinking in and tossing a key hero back into an avalanche stun.
An initiator that can transition into damage later into the game with tree grab and other items.
Yes, and he also clears waves super fast, which is very important for offlaners to be able to apply the split push pressure.
Yep. I think Tiny overall is a good pick and is still getting picked, and I think rightly so.
Yeah.
In spite of the tree grab nerf that just happened at 7.10, I don't think it's that big of a deal. It won't stop people from picking him, but it is a nice nerf.
He's still very strong.
Yeah. Last 3 seconds from OG. They are really taking their time here, and they will ban out the Storm Spirit, one of CCNC's comfort heroes, and that is what they're looking for. They are looking for a mid laner for CCNC.
That's right. OG, what are they going to pick here? I'm assuming it's the offlane Tiny, and they need a no-tail hero.
And then, well, they played the Morphling in the safe lane that you were talking about, and then you need the mid hero for. He's played a lot of Visage. I'm not sure if that's great here. Okay, well, they pick it anyway. Even whether it's great or not, they still pick it.
They're a mind reader mod.
Yeah, I really sniped it there, Brax.
You did.
Yeah.
You know why you're a mind reader? Because you read my mind.
Oh.
Nice job.
Thanks. We're just on a different wavelength, Brax.
Yep. All right, Visage.
So this is it provides a bit of push. The hero is pretty strong overall right now, I think. Not many teams play him, though. I think it's really just OG that is the majority of the games played on this hero.
Yeah. You know, around TI, everyone was playing Visage. In their scrims, everyone thought this hero was extremely imbalanced, but then people also played Venomancer every game. And with the Poison Nova removing Gravekeeper's Cloak almost instantly, it just wasn't effective at all. And but look at what Optic Gaming have to remove Gravekeeper's Cloak. It's Gyro Flat Cannon, which it's all right. It's not the best, but it's usable. Sand King Sandstorm, but that means you're basically melee range on top of birds and the entire team. Not the most reliable, right?
Yeah.
What else is there? If you can't remove the Gravekeeper's Cloak, this hero gets ridiculously tanky. Like, we saw Wee playing Visage yesterday. He got hit by a Silver Edge, and then we saw the hero melt. But then once the break wore off, once the break wore off, it just feels so weird.
Sometimes it's hard, man. I feel you.
I said that, and I'm just thinking about it, and I'm like, that can't be right.
Yeah.
But I guess it is.
English is difficult, man, let me tell you.
Man, what a tough language. What a shame it's the only language I speak as well. I live a rough life.
We really do. But Optic, they will pick their last hero. It is going to be the Phantom Lancer.
Okay, this hero is pretty good at breaking the armor.
Yeah, this is going to be a nice pickup against Visage. I think they actually played Visage today against Secret, and then they had the peel in that game as well against the Visage.
Yep.
So they've seen the counter already work for Secret. They'll grab it for Optic. They have the peel now available. And also, in terms of illusion clear, there's a tiny Rubik Fade Bolt, Astral, maybe. Morphling is okay at killing the PL, I guess. It's a weird matchup, I think.
Kind of not really.
No?
No.
Okay. Tell me about it.
Like, Morphling doesn't actually handle the illusions very well, right?
Yeah.
I guess at 20 you get that waveform attack talent, you know, so when you wave through, you hit all the illusions once, which is cool.
Yeah.
But there's no big AoE like Sand King, for example, because a lot of the times you need like a stun, like a big AoE stun to find the real PL. So he can't just keep generating illusions over and over and over.
Or at the very least, a Shiva's Guard builder.
Yes, that helps a lot for sure.
Which I'm not sure is going to happen this game for OG. So in terms of the drafts then, it's Optic versus OG.
Yeah.
I like the Visage pick, but I also like the PL pick. And the Dark Willow is the really big X factor. But what do you consider, you know, who do you have considering the better drafts? What do you think?
I think if PL gets off to a good start this game, then Optic have a very good shot at winning this game. I think they will struggle to deal with this Phantom Lancer. And Phantom Lancer deals with Visage pretty decently. While Visage is also super hard to deal with, you know, they kind of counter each other in that sense. Well, not counter each other, but I mean, like, if one gets off to a good start, he's good against that. But if not, then Visage can steamroll this game as well.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes as we jump into it. It's our last game of the day, OG versus Optic Gaming. A lot at stake here. They are both tied at 1 apiece, 1 win, 1 loss, and they're trying to get to that second win and position themselves for tomorrow to be able to get that third win and move into the playoffs. Optic, they beat Virtus Pro in the first round. OG, they were able to take down Na'Vi. So those are the wins that the teams have accrued, and now looking for that second one. We'll start things off with Optic moving to the top lane to drop an Observer Ward behind the tower, and for OG to move together as a team as 4, moving up into the mid lane and wrapping around behind Optic. CCNC, you might spot this out. The Astral was nearby, and it looks like OG are just going to take position, drop a ward down on the high ground, and try to grab this boundary run. Although they are backing up, they're not going to go and contest this, it looks like.
I'm curious to see how OG are going to deal with this lane setup, because Optic Gaming's lane setup with the Dark Willow plus any potential hero looks quite strong. Morphling is going to get pressured pretty hard in the early parts of the game. And I'm not too sure what Elder Titan can accomplish in the early game here. Like, he doesn't have these strong lanes to play off, or at least these lanes that he can easily pressure.
No, he's already going to get burrow struck. They will actually get the rune. Optic get 2, OG get 2. Jarek's still taking damage. He's able to walk through the Bramble Maze despite, you know, Elder Titan being a massive hero. He's able to get out almost unscathed with the exception of a couple of auto attacks and 1 Bramble Maze tick. So
that's quite unlucky. It feels like, right?
Yeah.
If you had 2 of them, you know, lined up, then it would cover the choke, but it's such an awkward spell to aim.
By the way, 3-3 is on the Sand King. Zai is on the Dark Willow.
Okay.
So if we go past previous plays in the offlane, 3-3 was the offlane player for the majority of the tournament so far. And then Zai has transitioned into the 4 role. Speaking of which, he's going to get telekinesis top lane, but not much damage there. It looks like they weren't actually going to go for anything. And Resolution was not in position, and even if he was, he doesn't have his waveform yet. He's just got the attribute shift. But there's still a lot of heroes in this top lane. That means that there's going to be action at some point. But it's actually going to be S4 taking a majority of the damage down in the bottom lane on this Tiny.
All right, so we have PL against the Visage. There's nothing Visage can really do to PL. Like, he can just farm, and this lane is awful for Tiny. Nobody likes lane against Bane. He comes in, kicks your ass, and he heals back up. It's not a good time. This is the lane where things happen a lot.
Yeah, it should be anyway. And the 3-3 has Burrow Strike. They have the Bramble Maze at level 1. Get some experience. Resolution's doing okay, though. 6 last hits, 3 denies. They're effectively zoning out the Optic support and offlaner.
Yeah, they're doing very well. At some point, I'm sure PPD will probably want to come up here once he secures the safe lane, and then they'll just play with a bit of a try-on-try action. And Sand King has some levels, too.
Yeah, I mean, once you get levels in the Gyrocopter, you can start zoning out the Tiny effectively with Rocket Barrage. PPD can rotate on up to the top lane like you were talking about. But here comes Jerax. He's got the Astral. He's got the Staple Gun with Resolution. The Bramble Maze will come out and actually hits Jerax. He's in trouble. The Fade Bolt, the Burrow Strike is there. They need a little bit more damage to wait for him. 1 more auto attack.
Oh.
They won't find it, though, and it's going to be 3-3 that gets dropped. Maybe he's barely surviving. He's got the Tango rolling, and he actually will make it out alive. Somehow both of those heroes did not get dropped down, and that's me. It's pretty incredible.
My goodness. How did he not die?
That's a good question. Both of them, to be honest. But S4 will toss PPD back into the tower. Get out of here. Get out of my lane. The brain sap comes in, though, and S4 is still having a bit of a rough time. But in the top lane, they're going in to fly the telekinesis. They've already used the burrow strike. Bramble Maze is down for another 3 seconds, but Optic are starting to put pressure onto this lane with the levels starting to come out for 3-3 and Zai.
Yeah, they're winning the regen war, right? Look at how low Fly is. He can't come up at all. Elder Titan, Jarex has to go heal. Resolution's scared to come up to last hit now, too. It's not easy.
Fly is going to get Bramble Maze. Zai is here. He's got the Shadow Realm. He will use it. He needs to charge up the damage. Not enough to get the kill, but still very close. Diving behind the tower. They have the burrow strike, and they just need one auto attack, and they will find it with 3-3. That is first blood. Rotating, trying to find 3-3, but he can always burrow strike out of trouble, and they won't chase him down. Instead, they'll look for Zai, who has pulled the wave back. And that is a pretty big kill for Optic. That is a 3 against 2, and they still get the advantage in the lane.
Yeah, big time. It's all about the pressure, Mon.
And they're applying a lot of it.
How much? Can you give me a number?
Well, 1 kill exactly.
But how much pressure does that translate into?
Apparently not much, because Resolution is farming really well. 17 last hits, 6 denies. He has less denies, obviously, than the Gyrocopter, but I don't think he's really concerned about that.
Yeah,
he's still getting free farm, pretty much.
The dual lane is pretty much crippling the support duo, right? Not actually doing anything to Morphling's farm. He's still farming very well.
I mean, it's keeping Fly and Jarex in the top lane for the most part, but now Jarex has rotated to the mid lane, so this pressure isn't really accomplishing that much, and especially with Zai going back to the base now.
So this is what I was worried about for ET. Now I'm not sure how much pressure he can really apply, right? Like Tiny's level 2. There's no kill threat against the Bane. You know, he's just sitting here.
Trying to get those bounty runes, and PPD will find it with a nice Nightmare. Jarex will find the other. I was thinking he might come bottom and just try to help S4. And again, it's another 2-level matchup between the off lane and the safe lane. Pycat is level 4, S4 is level 2.
That's brutal.
Yeah. And you're going to see that discrepancy right here with the Rocket Barrage and the homing missile damage.
At least Tiny can counter the gyro pretty easily, right? You can't really run this hero down with Flak Cannon because you can just toss him back.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So he'll keep himself alive. But now No-Tail getting ganked here by Zai. The Bramble Maze comes out, the Shadow Realm. It's a lot of damage. CCNC has already used the Phantom Lance, or the Spirit Lance rather, but it's enough to get the kill. He had plenty of auto attacks, and the Visage just dropped down, and CCNC will have an even better time in this mid lane now.
That's the value kill, too, with the Mango forced.
Yeah, that is actually huge. And Fly is getting run at by 3-3. The Caustic Finale, he's got Burrow Strike up in 2. It is a level 2 Burrow Strike. This is a lot of damage. The Caustic Finale explosion, it's so low. Fly getting dropped even lower and lower, but it looks like he will survive. On the other side, though, Pycat does take down Jarex. In that bottom lane, there was a long chase going. PPD setting it up with a Nightmare. Looking for more now into S4. There's the toss back, and that is just going to keep S4 alive.
This game's crazy.
Yeah. It's a lot of action,
just running at each other behind towers, not afraid of anything. It's nice to see.
Optic have gotten off to a good start, but this is a Resolution Morphling we're talking about, and this Visage will be able to get farm at some point once he gets a little bit more room to work with.
Yeah, level 6 is the big one for Visage, right? Once those birds come out, he gets about 1,000,000 times stronger. I'm not the best at math, so 1,000,000 times, don't quote me on that.
I'm sure that's accurate. Shadow Realm taking off the raindrop, but No-Tail is able to avoid the Bramble Maze for the most part and get himself back to safety with Jarex nearby, throwing up the Astral. PPD was also on the way, but he will only take the double damage away from Jarex and actually start to hit Jarex a little bit, but not too much, just one hit, and he will back up. Now they're going to dive back into the mid lane onto No-Tail with CCNC, but the Grave Shield will come out. That might keep him alive. There's the Nightmare, and now PPD will set up with the Shadow Realm to secure this kill, and it is going to be Zai securing it with that Shadow Realm damage, which is now level 2.
Very nice. And we were talking about the peel against the Visage, being able to apply pressure. It's already happening 6 minutes into the game, you know?
Yeah.
It gets worse and worse once those items come out.
Optic have a 3K lead at 6.5 minutes in, and they are about to put pressure on this Tier 1 tower and almost take it. They will rotate and fly. They also TP in the Visage, and S4 has roamed in from the bottom lane, trying to find his own experiences. He's only level 3. And all the meanwhile, 3-3 continues to do okay against Resolution in this top lane.
Good God, 3K at 6 minutes. That's insane.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I've seen that.
This is a significant lead, and we just saw EG versus Newbie, so I think that's saying something. But it's still, OG will have the room to work with. Jarex is getting run up by Pycat. The homing missile, the Rocket Barrage secures the kill. Oh, Pycat able to get there in time. That last little tick of Rocket Barrage damage is able to do the job.
Nobody can stay alive in this bottom lane against the gyrocopter bot. And then they're also applying a bunch of pressure mid. Oh, gee, what do they do?
They got to fall back on Resolution, and he's getting good farm, but...
He's a Morphling, though.
Exactly. And this is... In the draft, you said that he takes a while to get online. You need the Lincoln Sphere, and once you get some levels, you can start morphing into different heroes and start really carrying the game. But that's not that point of the game yet. He's only level 5. He's almost 6, but that really won't help him as they're rotating him with a gank, the Shadow Realm. They need a Burrow Strike, but 3-3 wasn't in position in time. So he does avoid the gank, and that will give some more room to the rest of the OG heroes across the map.
Resolution, Spidey senses tingling. Very nice. Avoids that gank.
And he's got the attribute shift ready, too. Well, they could probably blow him up pretty quickly if he doesn't get it off in time. The toss back onto Pycat. The sleep is there, but he's got to drop the call down. He has the flat cannon running as well. Jerax might be okay. The tree toss.
Now Pycat's in deep.
Yeah, he's very far. They have another stomping 3 with Fly's lift there. The TP from Pycat will keep him alive, and that could have been a big kill for OG that they missed out on narrowly.
That's gigantic. So many TPs forced. All of a sudden, Sand King still pressuring the top lane. And then there's pressure in the mid lane, too.
They rotated Resolution out of top for that, to try to find that kill. PPD getting low, though. No Tail, a little bit more damage, and that would have been a kill. Or no Wand on PPD also might have been the kill. Or the Brain Stab, excuse me, with the Wand.
Oh, Mott, the net worth is ugly.
It's definitely not looking good for OG at this point.
When the game's at 8.5 minutes and only the net worth tells the story of, you know, how bad the game really is, it's rough.
They gave the Pycat Gyrocopter essentially free farm in the bottom lane.
Yep.
And they're
We've
still
seen what this guy can do.
And they're giving CCNC more room to work with in the mid lane with the Bramble Maze now coming out and No Tail. The Cursed Crown is there. There's the Shadow Realm. This should be a kill with the Spirit Lance. The stun does come in with the familiar drops, but it's not in time, and CCNC will secure it with Zai coming along the ride.
Is this going to be a solo kill? The call down?
He got Avalanche at the right time, but he can still go for this. That stun from the homing missile on the Rocket Barrage is just too much. Pycat will get stomped. This could turn into a big kill for OG. They have the level 2 Fade Bolt.
No TP this time for Pycat.
Yeah, he's in a little deep, and there's the Morph from Resolution. They're doing about equal damage to each other.
Mott, when you're not strong, transform into someone that is strong.
Yeah, the Gyrocopter Resolution showing that it's pretty good when you morph into it, and he finds the kill, and that is a big one. That is Resolution getting a killing spree from Pycat and finally getting more farm for himself on that Morphling.
Yep, but unfortunately, it's a 5,000 gold in favor of Optic Gaming. OG. My goodness. They ran into such a big problem. I mean, look at the pressure on No Tail.
No Tail continues to get run at. He is lower than Zai in net worth, and they are going to get even more for Zai as the Spirit Lance comes out and Zai finds himself an assist onto the Visage. They've lost the tier 1 tower in the mid lane. It is a 5K lead, and OG continued to struggle at the beginning of this game.
I'm so glad the team showed us how to play Dark Willow.
Zai?
Yeah.
He's
owning.
He's crushing it for sure.
All you do is gank mid lane with Bramble Maze and your Cursed Crown skill.
I mean, people were discussing if this hero was broken or not. It seems pretty good. Once you get the Shadow Realm levels, it's a lot of damage. It's good lockdown with just 1 point in Bramble Maze and Cursed Crown. Nightmare onto Resolution. Pycat's got the homing missile. Rezo is all agility morph, but that shouldn't matter. He's going to attribute shift now and be fine.
He'll walk that one off. He's okay.
Yeah, he's good to go.
It pushes him off the wave. There's a wagon up top. 2 heroes as well. There's so much pressure that OG have to respond to, but with their lineup, they're not ready to fight.
Oh, they have smoked up. They might find Pycat in the river. The Avalanche just misses. Oh. OG were so close. They had 3 heroes there plus the familiars. That would have been a kill. They couldn't find it. And instead, Optic continue to pressure the top tier 2 tower. This is a Sand King and a PL pressuring at tier 2. And now Zai coming with a Bramble Maze.
Yep, just zoning Jerax off the tower.
And this tier 2 is dead. They were also trying to find PPD, but he TP's out of trouble in the bottom lane. And OG will try to find themselves a tower and get something. They're down 8K at 11.5 minutes right now, Brax.
My goodness. That's a lot of gold.
Whew. Optic Gaming, man. The lane setups.
Yep, that's where it begins, right?
Yeah.
You have this hero, this Visage in the mid lane that doesn't actually do anything until he gets level 6. And with their combination of heroes, they can't actually help him, right? You have Phantom Lancer. He's fantastic when people come to gank for him. Fantastic when you're diving under tower. You can always reset the aggro with a Doppelganger. You've got all these illusions. Good he can get on top of these weaker heroes. And then, of course, the offlane, where Optic Gaming were able to pressure these support heroes heavily. They didn't want to leave, right? And when they did, it's just you end up leaving into this level 8 gyrocopter with phase boots running you down.
How are you supposed to fight into that at that point of the game? They really had to wait for Pycat to dive for them to actually be able to get anything done against the hero. And now there is a Blink Dagger on 3-3 with treads along with it. Wand and a ring drop. They will epicenter and blow away this Morphling. Resolution gets absolutely destroyed.
PPD set them up very nicely, just camping out in the trees. The patience game.
Is this going to be another smoke broken by a 5-position support? It looks like it will be. PPD's going to run into Fly. They have the lift. This is not the best target, but they can still get the kill at the very least. Familiars will go. They have the Nightmare, but I don't think that'll save his life. They couldn't get off the brain sap in time. The call down's going to come in. They're going to try to turn this. S4 is nearby, but he's not quite out of the fight. It is a DD gyro, and No Tail is gone. And Fly trying to TP cannot make it out either. The Bedlam is there from Zai. They're looking for the Familiars now as they've taken 2, and PPD is 100% fine with that gank.
Look at that. Cheering the team on. Little well-played action. And the Bramble Maze kills the birds, too.
Prax. They got bots on Morphling at least. He knows this is a long game. It's time to get to the split push.
Yeah, that's the road to recovery. Incredible.
CCNC, though, has a diffuser blade, so he wants to be involved.
Yep. You know, on the bright side for OG, S4 almost has his Blink Dagger. That could be game-changing, getting on top of heroes like the Dark Willow, being able to blow them up, get some nice pickoffs.
We saw how the Blink Dagger on the Tiny in the last game didn't accomplish much because of the positioning of the enemy team. Maybe the same thing happens for Optic, or maybe S4 can find some really good initiations and get his team back into the game, but it's going to have to be a lot. They need to get a lot of kills for them to make up this deficit. Yeah. So they're down 8K, and at 13 minutes, 14 minutes of the game, that is nothing to scoff at.
Yep, that 8K gold wall is going to be tough to overcome.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
That's where it starts, right? Getting these key pickoffs, being able to open up the map so you can farm. Because at the moment, it's Optic Gaming that are controlling the map. You have to worry about this Bane hiding out of the side lane, setting up the Fiend script. Same thing with the Sand King. So it's much more difficult.
And the Bane just got level 6. This is all before he had his Fiend script available.
Yeah.
There is a BKB coming for the gyro. In the meantime, top lane, they're going to find CCNC. He's going to get tossed up in the air. It's a lot of damage. He actually avoids the Soul Assumption. The Stomp him as well. The waveform, CCNC juking back to the trees and trying to get out into the lane. Jerax is here. They're keeping pace. I will find Fly across the map in the meantime, but CCNC will fall. And that is the start. That is the start for OG back into this game, getting that kill onto the Phantom Lancer.
Yep, they need more of that. And, you know, Phantom Lancer, he was pushing very aggressively. Right, which is good. You want to be able to apply pressure. Didn't know the Blink Dagger was coming out. Now he'll think twice next time when he's in that position because he knows that that threat's there. And that could potentially buy some more time for OG to keep farming their way back in the game.
Do you know how much OG got for that one kill?
No. Would you like to tell me?
1,000 gold.
Wowzers.
And that wasn't even a big spree. It was like dominating or something.
Yeah.
It was a 4-time spree.
That's just the big swing from the gold difference.
And the good news is Resolution got the majority of the gold. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Optic trying to take the tier 1 tower. Stomp will come in. They've got the Bedlam running, and this is going to be trouble for S4. The Curse Crown also there. 3-3 Burrow Strike. They've got the call down to the level 2, the Terrorize. As Visage is there, and this is a problem. The Earth Splitter coming in. It's a lot of damage. 3-3 with the epicenter. Jerax is getting low. It's a double kill for 3-3, but it's actually a 2-for-2. Fly getting low. The Urn taking him down. It's going to be close. He will get dropped. It's 3-for-2 now, and PPD and Zai on the run. They want to turn on to Big Daddy No Tail now, and they will do just that. As CCNC comes in with Diffuse Blade, they've got the Curse Crown. One more death going OG's way. They did their best in that fight, and it was close, but Optic come out ahead, and they get the tier 1 tower on top of it all. Actually, it does get denied by Resolution, but still.
You know, gold-wise, that wasn't bad for OG at all. They denied the tower. They got 2 big kills in the Gyrocopter and the Sand King. Fly managed to steal the call down in that fight, helped turn that. Not bad at all. You know, it looks bad because they died.
Right.
But they essentially just traded kills with the tower denied, right? It could be much worse.
I mean, you're going to see it here. The Bedlam coming in, and S4 getting caught, and that's really, if he's able to survive the beginning of this engagement, things probably go a lot better. But he was on the run, especially once he got feared.
The Epi looks so good, but they actually all lived with, I mean, they didn't actually
sliver of HP.
They got pretty low.
3-3 doing some work with that Blink Dagger, though, as you can see. And they're still getting map control for Optic. They found a Burrow Strike. That'll be under the Tiny, but the toss back is there as S4 has the Urn Charge placed on him. He's still on the run. 3-3 has a Blink up in 5, but they won't be able to get there in time.
Double damage Roshan.
I feel like I've seen this movie before. BD Roche. But it's another step down the list for Optic Gaming. They will grab Roshan, they will grab the Aegis to try to get to some of these tier 2 towers. And CC has now got a Vitality booster just to make it a bit tanky. He will grab the Aegis to work with that as well. Pycat's BKB just about done for the Gyrocopter. All these items starting to come out. They almost have a full Yule Scepter for Zai. The 4.5 position support, whatever you want to call it.
Something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably 4, actually.
That's 4. With the Bane, it's definitely 4. But yeah. How are they going to respond to that? BKB Gyro? Aegis as well?
And they're going to smoke, but this might be Jerax breaking the smoke this time. It's close. They haven't spotted him yet. They have a ward. Now they will. The ward will see them. Jerax is going to try for the TP, and it's going to be close. They can't get the Nightmare off in time. PPD was mid-animation, but it wasn't going to be there. That's a very nice play for Jerax. That gives you more time for OG for S4 to get more farm across the map.
Yeah,
and
very, very good. You know, it's often understated how important it is to break that key smoking. You see these core heroes that are meant to be pushing out these lanes, that want to be, you know, pushing these lanes, then getting off map so they can make plays elsewhere. And when they get spotted like that, when they're already grouped up, you lose a lot of map pressure. That's a lot of time for OG to keep on farming and get these lanes out.
And that's really what they need, is time at this point in the game. Time and probably kills will help.
Time and money mod.
Exactly.
It's like real life.
But Pycat and CCNC, they have a lot of both time and money as they pressure the tier 2 tower. They'll drop the homing missile, they'll push Visage back in the meantime, or excuse me, the Elder Titan. But it's going to give some space for OG in the mid lane to try to continue the push with S4.
You know what? I joked about how it's kind of a blanket statement when you say one team has good high ground defense, but OG really do have good high ground defense with Elder Titan.
And they're going to need it in this game. They will get S4 out of trouble. Is it good as the VGJ Thunder high ground defense was, though, is the question.
Oh, no. That was like some amazing high ground defense.
Yeah. Not quite the same thing.
But, you know, Morphling, this guy's pretty powerful, right? When he gets that, he's almost at his Lincoln Sphere, very close, and he's got the boots of travel, so he'll be pretty difficult to gank on the side lanes just because of the Lincoln Sphere protection. And then once he makes it to E-Blade,
I mean, if he can morph into Pycat as well, and get the flat cannon, and you do a lot of damage when you come out of that with Morphling.
it's true.
It can really work to your advantage.
Yeah, for me, the big game changer is that going to be that E-Blade.
Yeah.
Where you can blow up some of these heroes and just make it so difficult for them to sit in front of your face because you can casually blast them.
Well, he's just about to buy this Lincoln Sphere, so the E-Blade's going to be pretty far behind for now.
Yep.
And again, Optic are going down the checklist as you would expect to do. You take all the tier 2 towers, try to get some vision up, try to choke out OG from getting outside the base. And they're going to drop some wards with PPD up at the top lane, just trying to get some more vision, seeing where Resolution's moving. And Resolution is doing his best with these bots, but Optic are just starting to really take control of this map, Rex.
That they are. They can comfortably push out any lane with any hero, pretty much, except for Bane. He doesn't want to show. But yeah, high ground's still hard, right? Like, you need a pick-off, or you would definitely like a pick-off, because if you just walk up to the high ground, into the Elder Titan stomp, all that damage, it's just, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
You're going to hit this wall where you take a bunch of damage for free, and then potentially set yourself up for a bad team fight.
Earth Splitter can do some serious work in this game for JRX if they can hold. We have a team of Optic running up behind that of OG. No Tail has picked up the helm of the Dominator. He's got a full medallion on the way, but 3-3 with the haste rune. Blinks in, and he can't find him, actually. And the TP from No Tail should be successful. We'll have a Blinken from S4. He actually, was so close. 3-3, almost found him with that Burrow Strike, but S4, good TP timing. He's able to get himself back to the base. And now the waves get pushed out again.
Just buying time.
Yes, that's the name of the game.
Yep. How do you buy time? How much money does it cost?
Apparently 10K at this point.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's the deficit they are facing. And that's what they need to come back from.
Look at this. Even Jarek's pulling waves. Just trying to stall out the game.
This is what you have to do, and they're doing a very good job of it. Aegis timing is only 40 seconds, so it feels like it's been, you know, the span of a blink of an eye, but OG have done a great job keeping the game somewhat even and keeping the tier 3 towers alive. They even have a Wild Wing, which was taken by No Tail, I think, with the helm of the Dominator.
Yep.
Got the extra armor with that.
You know, the biggest concern for OG at the moment is that No Tail on his Visage isn't going to be able to keep up in terms of farm. Hero does not farm that fast, and he also doesn't really have the space or the survivability to really leave the base. It's just Resolution on his Morphling. So while Resolution will keep farming, No Tail pretty much will get minimal farm. All right. That's a lot of damage.
Yeah, it was a nice little pick. I mean, Bedlam is really good for that.
Yep.
The amount of damage it can do is pretty insane. But it does force the 2 supports back to the top tier 1 tower. So top of net worth hero is going to be CCNC. He's actually just ahead of Pycat, despite Pycat having a great start. CCNC has been just free farming at this point with the illusions, pushing the waves out. He is working out of Heart of Tarrasque. He already has the S and Y with Diffusal. That was the first item that he grabbed, but the Heart will make him nigh impossible to kill at this point.
Yeah, the big thing is Heart makes it easy to siege high ground. He can just sit there, tank, run past the tower, zone some of these heroes off, and heal it all up because they won't be able to commit heavily. Look at their stuns, right? You have Blink Tiny, Rubik. Once PL gets Heart, you won't actually be able to burst him. He'll be able to get the Doppelganger off every time.
Yeah, that Tiny, gonna need some more damage for him to actually be able to do some work against this CCNC Phantom Lancer. He's getting close to the Shadow Blade, so they'll get there eventually. The Aegis, of course, is gone. Roche may respawn in the next 2 minutes, but we'll see what the actual respawn time is after those 2 minutes are up.
We've hit that point, Mod. It's the wait for next Roshian.
Right. I mean, at this point, it's just who can get a pick off and maybe get some map control back.
Exactly.
If Optic can find a kill or 2, if they can get a good fight, they can maybe potentially take high ground. But it's difficult because OG are being very slippery at this point of the game. However, Optic will smoke and they will try to find No Tail or Resolution, who are down in the bottom lane.
Yep, if they can catch any of these heroes outside their base, it could lead to high ground, but looks unlikely, right? OG playing it very safe. They see the courier, but all right.
Nice courier pick from 3-3. Heck of a game on the Sand King so far. He's 4-1-5. Good burrows, good EPs. He's working on a 4-staff now with the casual vitality booster that he's picked up. But OG, they have good late game. Obviously one of the best late game teams out there. At least that's what they were considered back in the heyday, and I think they still are for good reason with Resolution.
Oh yeah, their late game play is definitely very, very good. It's just a matter about getting there.
But Optic are in such a strong position. This Dark Glow now with the Blink Dagger for Zai. He's just pushing the waves out with the Bramble Maze. Bottom, the creep wave is being cut by 3-3. And it feels like Optic are getting ready to go without the Aegis.
It's so rare that a team can show in all 3 lanes to push out these lanes simultaneously.
Oh my god. The Terrorize, the Bedlam, it's a lot of damage, but the rest of OG were here to help out. Now Zai actually has to run. The Ul Scepter, Zai getting run down. They've got the Wild Wing. There's the Waveform, the Adaptive Strike, a couple more auto attacks. Zai will fall, and OG about to get the kill, but they will get the Shadow Realm off. And Zai blinks away. Can the TP be successful? It looks like it will be. The Waveform is not there in time from Rezo. What a play from Zai. They were so close.
The shenanigans spot.
New meta, says PPD. He's not wrong. It is a Dark Willow after all. The Shadow Realm comes out. But they do push Zai out of the top lane. They'll get the waves at least a little bit further out. But in the meantime, they have picked up more items for Phantom Lancer and the rest of Optic Gaming. The Lincoln Sphere is about to be completed for Pycat. He's a full Lincoln's Drum BKB coming out in the courier here in a moment. Just the Lincolns, rather. But
yeah, let's see if S4 can make something happen with Shadow Blade. That's what they need, right? When you have the entire team showing in a different lane, just killing creep waves, with that Shadow Blade, you can potentially get some pickoffs. Definitely what they need.
Yeah.
They need to make something happen.
There's the Burrow Strike. Optic will use the call down. Jarex is going to get out in time. They have the homing missile coming in, but they can't find the kill. But they might find more. They have the TP from Resolution. The Nightmare will cancel it, and this is going to be a nice kill. This is going to be the Visage down. The Cursed Crown comes out. They've got the Spirit Lance and CCNC, one of the best heroes against the Gravekeeper's Cloak. They take him down, and a couple of the Visage Birds as well. He does have buyback, but now the Lincoln Sphere is done with Pycat. And with this kill, once the waves are pushed in, they might be able to take the tower or Roshan, which is now up if Optic want to go for that.
Hopefully, Roche. These towers are quite difficult to take still. What a combo. To sleep into the Cursed Crown.
Yeah, that is
cool.
Just don't touch him, and then 4 seconds later he's stunned for a year and a half.
Yep.
But there will be more split pushing for OG as expected. They will sit in the bottom lane with Resolution. He's getting closer and closer to his Ethereal Blade, but even with that item, is going to be enough to bring down this tanky CCNC Phantom Lancer, or really any of these heroes for Optic. Maybe the supports, obviously, but
yeah, Optic have itemized quite well for the E-Blade that's eventually going to come out. Pycat has a Lincoln Sphere. Helps with dealing with that quite a bit. And you're right, there's no actual E-Blade target. Because the E-Blade is 3,500 HP PL once he picks up the Lincoln, or the Heart of Tarrasque. Or this Gyro in the front lines with BKB and Lincoln Sphere. It's not going to be easy.
it is going to be Kind of impossible to bring down CCNC and PyCat at this point in the game. They now have Cheese and Aegis. Aegis on CCNC, Cheese on PyCat. The trade will come out for OG and Resolution, getting the only thing they really can get at this point, which is the Tier 2 tower on the bottom lane. More money for Resolution's Ethereal Blade, more money for Visage's next item, which is going to be that Solar Crest for No Tail. But now with the Aegis and Cheese, as long as they can keep the waves pushed in for Optic, they can start going for high ground momentarily.
Yep, I imagine it's go time for Optic. You have everything you need in terms of items. You've hit all your power spikes. You got Roshan, got Cheese. It's just a matter of getting these lanes out so you can safely approach OG without them being able to potentially trade.
They scouted out Optic's movements with the Shadow Bladed Tiny, so they know they were all going bottom, and this allows them to TP to other lanes to try to push them out. But now Optic have the waves pushing in both mid and in bottom, and there's really nothing stopping them from trying to go high ground now.
That's right, it's go time. Push out 2 lanes, run down 1 afterwards.
All right, OG looking for a high ground stand. They have the 4 stuff on Jerax. They're actually relatively farmed on their supports considering how this game has gone.
Yeah.
And again, an Earth Splitter, a good Astral into a Stomp could do some work, but the 3-3 Sand King will start the fight off. They miss the Bramble. They do get off the Diffusal onto Fly, but he's able to back himself away.
I'm pretty surprised they jumped like that. Like, CCNC is basically zoning them all off the tower by himself. All they have to do is sit back and wait until they overstep a little on OG.
There's that Earth Splitter. They found 3-3, but the Terrorize comes out and it does hit onto the Morphling. While they were trying to make a go onto the 3-3 Sand King, CCNC did finish off the Tier 3 tower.
It's all about the buildings, Mott.
Yeah, and they were really hitting them.
Stone structures.
28 minutes into this game, and OG need to find something. They'll jump in, but the immediate Nightmare onto Tiny stops any further initiation. The epicenter, the Burrow Strike. PyCat getting low. He pops the Cheese, though. He'll pop the BKB along with the Rocket Barrage. They have to buy back onto S4. CCNC still chasing the familiar drops, keeping No Tail alive for a moment longer, but maybe not a moment. Great toss from Tiny from S4 to keep No Tail alive. So they will continue to be able to fight here in a moment once they get the healings done, but they will still lose their racks in the bottom lane. It looks like a CCNC is just going to work. The Fade Bolt will come out. They will have the damage reduction. It will not be enough. The Astral, they get off an Avalanche. That'll be on to PyCat now with the Ethereal Blade. They do blow him up. He's dead for 58 seconds. A big kill, but again, they lose racks for this. The Fade Bolt comes out. CCNC is a monster. Good luck bringing him down. He's looking for Fly. The Burrow Strike comes in for 3-3. They'll find another kill. That'll be on to this Rubik. Now the Bedlam coming into No Tail, and he might fall. He's getting low. He's forced away. S4 trying his best to keep him alive, but they Yules him up. They're still chasing him with CCNC. The Doppelganger comes out. The Spirit lands as well, and now they're turning on to the Tiny, who is out of mana, but he will Shadow Blade in time. Shadow Realm, the Burrow Strike coming in. That'll be onto 1, but Resolution comes through and blows up Zai. It's a lot of damage being done. CCNC out of mana, but still ready to fight. Pretty much do this alone, it feels like. They're going to toss him back and try to at least get this Aegis.
Can they actually kill him, though?
They have Ethereal Blade up now. CCNC on the run. They're looking for this. The Sandstorm comes in. There's the Force. They need to find more initiation. They have the Blink back and through for 10. He's going to force himself and try to find this Avalanche. They're still trying to chase. The familiar drop is there. CCNC tossed up into the air. They have this Ethereal Blade still. The Burrow Strike comes in. They cannot kill this man, and they're turning back onto Jerax. The Stomp will come through. It keeps Jerax alive, but CCNC will be chasing him down with the help of 3-3 momentarily as a pause comes through, and Optic are dealing with some lag and a crash. Whew.
Well, PL just doesn't die.
No.
Like, his restriction is mana. They're hoping he lances 25 times in the team fight, so he's got no mana. That's actually the point of the game we've got to.
And that's actually what's happened. He has no mana now, but it doesn't mean he can't continue to chase all the rest of the heroes around the map. And they tried their best to get this Aegis, just the Aegis down. They can't even do that at this point. That is the sizable lead that Optic have, a 16K advantage now.
Yeah, and we were also talking about just the hero matchups in general, right? You look at the lockdown from OG, once items like the Heart of Thras come out, or just even the Aegis, you can't kill this guy. And that's such a big problem.
Ooh, nice deny from Jerax. That'll help a little bit, but he is down for 48 with no buyback. Visage will be respawning shortly. They don't have the Cheese on PyCat anymore, but again, they still have that Aegis. And as long as they can get some mana for CCNC, they can continue to go. They might not even need it, actually.
It's go time.
Yeah, it really is at this point. OG are holding on by a thread, and Optic looking for an upset. They're trying to get to 2-1 in this Swiss format, 1 game away from the playoffs. They've looked good so far this tournament. beating Virtus Pro. They've got the Burrow Strike, the Bramblemaid's on it too, the call down to fall, the flat cannon coming in, and no tail will fall almost instantly. He's got the buyback available, and he might need to use it, and they might just give away the second set of racks. The tier 3 is gone. They got the homing missile onto the Tiny West to Shadow Blade himself to safety. 3-3 is there with a blank, ready to go into 4-staff. Fly will steal Sandstorm, not the spell that he wanted. Resolution getting low, but he needs the agility for the Ethereal Blade to come in. CCNC getting telekinesis. They got the Terrorizer coming in. They've got Resolution turned into the Gyrocopter, but it's not going to help the Epicenter. Will go, but it actually doesn't bring down Rezo. They get S4 instead as he got forced away on that Resolution Morphling, but still everybody buying back, everybody dying for OG. They will take down at least the Sand King and finally the Aegis of CCNC, but they're using so much for OG. They're losing their buildings. The Earth Splitter will go. Maybe they can find CCNC now. It's a lot of damage being done. They don't have the Ethereal Blade for another 6 seconds. The Rocket Crush coming in. The call down will go. Resolution will wait for him back into the well. Get some HP and agility attribute shift once more. The Stomp comes in from Jarex, and CCNC continues to fight the Curse Crown. The Burrow Strike, it's on to 2. They'll find a double kill from Zai with a Bedlam huge pickup, and that will be 4 dead. Elder Titan has the only buyback in the game. Resolution, or rather on the OG side, that is alive. They will use that buyback. It's going to be 2 versus 5 at this point. And their mega creeps are about to come shortly for Optic Gaming.
OG not giving up yet, but
they're trying their damnedest, but Optic are playing so well. They've got such a sizable lead. Pycat is in there. The Bramblemaze will come. And Resolution's trying to find an Ethereal Blade, but the Lincoln Sphere is there for Pycat. The Nightmare comes in onto Resolution, and now Megas are coming. They've got tier 4s under siege as all of the creeps are rolling right on in for Optic Gaming. The Flat Cannon, the call down, pushing back, the Burrow Strike, the Resolution, wait for him back into the well. But at this point, it seems too little, too late for OG, and Optic about to take the last tier 4 in the Ancient. There's not much else OG can do, and this is a huge victory for Optic should they get it, and they will. The Dark Willow buyback coming in, Pycat pops the BKB.
They're just hitting the throne.
At this point, it's all over, Brax. This will be Optic Gaming taking out OG here in this 3rd day match.
Wow, convincing. What that PL pick was amazing.
CCNC had a great time in that mid lane.
Yeah, you know, he's had a couple rough games this tournament, but look what happens when you give him a good matchup, right?
Yeah,
very good.
He just gets a lot of room to work with. He gets a couple of kills with the help of the Zai Dark Willow, who rotated a lot. Zai did, I think, a lot of work in the early stages of this game.
It just felt like with the lane setup that Optic Gaming had compared to OG's was they just couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, you have this dual off lane keeping these supports here because Morphling needs help early on. Visage, he needs help, but it's hard to help him because he doesn't actually output a lot of damage until level 6, right?
Yeah.
And then there's also the PL sitting in front of him, which makes it really difficult to do anything because he can't actually pressure PL at all.
Yeah.
PL can dive him freely. It was just a mess. They could never really get off the ground.
Yeah, the rough laning matchups really went in Optic's favor there. The 3-3 Sand King with the help of Zai at the beginning of the game, really shutting down that tri-lane in the top lane. And then you talked about CCNC versus the Visage. And then Pycat getting free farm, essentially. So
yeah,
that was something else for Optic Gaming.
The Dark Willow looked good.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I know the game had a huge lead, but you could still see this hero's impact, right? When Dark Willow comes mid to gank with the hero who has some kill threat, the Phantom Lancer, right?
Yeah.
You have, like, the damage from the Shadow Realm into the stun. It's strong. It looks strong.
So we'll check out the highlights between these two teams. A 33-minute game, not quite the game we saw between EG and Newbie in terms of length, but it certainly felt like an insurmountable lead for OG to come back from. And
I mean, this is so early on into the game, too, and the gold lead's already so big. But, you know, if you just sit back and do nothing, you're going to lose anyways, right? You need to move out. You need to look for some of these plays, look for some of the team fights. And this is probably OG's best team fight that they had this game, honestly.
It came close. You know, it was like 2 for 4, I think. There was, I think, a really good epicenter coming in from 3-3, which really changed the complexion of the fight. Otherwise, OG come out maybe pretty far ahead in this engagement. They get Pycat at the end of it, but it's still a double kill from the Sand King with 4 heroes inevitably dying. Fly ticks down to the urn.
Optic are just so far ahead already.
Yeah, it's 7K at this point of the game at 15 minutes, and CCNC is up there along with Pycat. They've killed No-Tail a few times. I just don't... I mean, it was a great laning phase for Optic. That pretty much is what it comes down to. Like, Resolution couldn't get to that late game Morphling that you wanted to get to.
They had a good lane phase, and they just ran away with it.
Exactly.
Pretty much, right? It felt like that they needed so many things. You look at Visage, needs help to get to 6, needs some protection there. Morphling, a hero that also needs to be constantly babysat. Then you have an offlane Tiny laning up against this Bane who's just sitting there repeatedly clicking him down, kicking his ass. nobody could really get anything going just because everyone needs some sort of help to get to that start, and it's just not possible to get there.
You think S4 getting that Flame Attacker might have been a huge pickup in OG's timing, but I think by that point it was too late even.
Yep.
I think they had like a 3 or 4K lead.
It's something like it's good, but they also need more to
Right.
make these plays consistently happen. But
And,
yeah, Optic Gaming, they played very well.
They did. This team really came out strong in the laning phase, as we've talked about, and they really crushed it, to be honest, and they look good in doing so. Now we need to talk about, what this means for both of these teams. It's a 2-1 advantage now in the Swiss format for Optic. They are 1 win away from getting qualified to the playoffs.
Okay.
And OG are 1 win away, or 1 loss away, rather, from getting eliminated here at the Bucharest Major.
Wow.
So
These next games are so important.
yeah, tomorrow is a huge day for pretty much everybody that's still playing at the very least. There's already a lot of teams, or there's 2 teams, that have qualified.
Yep, 2 teams that have qualified.
EG and VGJ Thunder.
Yep, and then 2 teams eliminated.
Yes, LFY and Vegas Squadron all done. But I think we will have the scoreboard to come up here in a moment, so we'll check that out.
Nice, I like
and
the
then we'll
scoreboard.
talk about potential MVP discussions, which you and I apparently struggle with, I think.
Look at that graph, Mott.
That is something else. The goal difference tells the story. I think really just everything on that graph on the Optic side tells the story.
I see a lot of numbers on one side and not so many on the other.
Look at the dots for Optic. Look at how many green dots they have. The 27 heroes killed is a significant number.
Yep.
So now let's talk about potential MVP for Optic Gaming here. Again, it's hard to choose considering that they had all had an impact for the most part. Zydark Willow was another good choice. CCNC Phantom Lancer were probably my 2 go-tos.
Okay. I'm going to give it to CCNC.
CCNC
In
on
my
the PL.
opinion, yeah. I thought he played the game very well.
Yeah, I think
And
so too.
It was just a good showing from him overall.
Yeah, I think so. Really coming into his own. They beat Virtus Pro.
Mott, as you say, he was really feeling himself.
He's really feeling himself. I haven't said that in a while, actually. Thanks for bringing that back up.
He's underage. Don't use that one.
Okay. They have CCNC. There it is, the match MVP, and for good reason.
Look at those eyes.
They did make it easy with the last pick PL against the Visage. That obviously helped, but this is huge for Optic. They beat Virtus Pro in a very close game with a comeback with Pycat's Gyrocopter. He was the MVP of that game. They lose yesterday, and they come back and they win against OG, one of the really well-liked teams, one of the really good teams at this tournament. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of good teams. There's a lot of upsets. There's a lot of crazy things happening.
When I look at this event,
format.
I think this is not an easy tournament at all. There are a lot of good teams here. And as we've seen in the best-of-1 format, a lot of upsets. Any team can win.
That's the thing. It's the Bo1s that really change a lot here at this point, and that will tell the tale. I mean, again, we talked about it. LFY did already, Vegas Squadron, but there's a lot of teams that are down at 1 and 2 that you wouldn't think would be there. Liquid, Vici Gaming, OG now, so crazy stuff, Brax. So with that said, we aren't done for today. We will have Paul to come back on and give us his thoughts in just a moment. I'll be here with Brax along with him, so we'll be able to give him our thoughts as well. So thanks so much for joining us, guys. We'll be back in just a second.